Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing The Evil Within on Akumu difficulty mode, and this is chapter 4 of 15. It's entitled The Patient. So the first thing we're going to do, and by the way, if you're watching this and you've already seen a part 4 for me, just bear in mind that, like chapter 2, I deleted chapter 4 and now I'm redoing it with thoroughness in mind. So the first thing we're going to do is come up here, collect this bottle here, and then throw it at the larger enemy here. I am playing on 60 frames a second, and in the other video I started it out by mentioning some of the patch notes for this game. They basically boil down to specific PC patches. There currently are no console patches from Bethesda, but they've made the game more stable at 60 frames per second, and they've also allowed you a user interface to toggle between letterbox and non-letterbox. It still has letterbox when you go to the title screen, and any cinematics are also in letterbox, but the main campaign is just as it is right now, perfectly fine, as it should have been in the first place. So those are the main fixes. So the next thing we're going to do is go up here. One of my subscribers actually pointed this out, this key up here, and I just think it's highly important to get these keys. So we'll come in here, we'll encounter the guy's brother downstairs, and then there's one encounter with a haunted here. For me, he always comes out of this door here. And the main things that I'm upgrading on my path, I'm upgrading the damage multipliers, I'm upgrading the stock. I think stock is extremely important because there's a lot of times in this game, early on at least, when you're passing by stuff that you just can't pick up because you don't have enough room to carry everything. So yeah, I pressed the wrong button there, but I still got in the kill. So stock is very important to upgrade, and if I already have my agony bolts completely maxed out as far as how many I can carry, if you go to level 3 you can carry 4 of each. And I'm going to be using the shock bolts very frequently in this game, especially on the invisible enemies, because they're hard to hit. You end up wasting a lot of ammo on them unless you can kneecap them and then burn them in one fell swoop. But it's difficult to do that because they turn back invisible really quickly. And I'm also going to be upgrading the duration and the spread of how many enemies can be. Not the flash bolts. I'm talking about the flash bolts. They're economical. They only cost 2 to craft, and they're lifesavers. They're very helpful for dealing with crowds. And I think this first key is just an ingenious way they've put it here inside the cadaver. So I'm going to be using a shock bolt, or not a shock bolt, excuse me, the flash bolt on the guy's brother here. So make sure you have it equipped, make sure you have it reloaded. You can do whatever you want to. I mean, you can use a shotgun if you want to. But just like the ambulance driver in video 2, this guy comes at you pretty damn quick. So just shock him, duck, stab him in the throat. And then what you want to do is examine the x-ray on the desk. And this is just, when I saw this, I'm just like, wow, this is so fucking cool. So there's the keys inside his, looks like his spine. So approach him and just move the left analog stick over to the left and then press A, and it'll give you a little jump scare. But you'll get your key. So go digging. When I first saw that, I'm like, do I have to fight this guy? But no, you just get the key in your inventory. Things to definitely not upgrade. There's no point to upgrading health bar. There's no point to upgrading What else was it that I saw recently? Like the syringe capacity, it's completely pointless. Upgrading the matches is important too. But I would say by this point in the game, make sure you have the ability to carry 4 agony bolts. And I've got about 30 parts to craft, but I'm not going to craft them yet because there are some to pick up. So anytime you see me kick that door open, I went to save it. So this part here, you could actually just creep up on him and stab him. I didn't do this part. I didn't even go to this area the last time I did this video. And as far as I know, there's no trophy for saving that woman or anything like that, but you have access. Yeah, you could actually hit these pigs and then burn them if you really got desperate. I don't know why they have those swine there, but it's fun to hit them. So then you'll come in this room. This is why you don't craft stuff, because if you had crafted stuff, then you can't pick these up. Then you just wasted spare parts. But I'm going to be using the flash bolts very frequently in the game. And as far as my explosive bolts, those are up to level 3. I'll be getting those up to level 4 presently, and then level 5. I think this has a minor little jump scare in here. You'll see a cadaver fall down, but just make sure you pick up the item in here. And then there's one more room before we go after Leslie. Another reason I'm saving it frequently is because my game, it still fucking crashes randomly, and it just pisses me off. Like, I can envision myself doing a really difficult part, like in chapter 6 or 11, and then the game crashing before I get to a checkpoint. It's that kind of stuff that I'm trying to work out. So I've posted threads on Steam and on Bethesda's Evil Within forums, and I know it's a difficult thing to try to analyze. Now, surprisingly, this enemy here, it will drop a lot of green gel for you, but okay, I see it right there. I could have picked it up, but it's hard to individualize people's issues on forums. So the best you can really tell them is your specifications of your rig and a general overview of your problems. And I'm just looking for some general solutions, that might work for this. I mean, it should not ever crash. Never. It should never crash. But I just think this game is an unmitigated masterpiece. Now, when I've said that, like, sometimes when I say this game is trash, or when I say it's not good, I'm talking about the performance of it is not good and it's trash. The game itself is highly addicting and it's fun as hell. Okay, so with this room cleared, we're going to go out here, and there's also an axe by the save hut. How many does this give? 300. And then there's a dead end path over there to the right. Here's Leslie. Okay, so we're going to be encountering the invisible enemies whom I abhor. I think they're the worst enemy in the game. Completely uninspired. Too easy to get grabbed by. So anytime I see one of those guys, it's going to be a flash bolt to stun them. And the good thing about that is it exposes them. It exposes them and then stuns them. So it's a guaranteed victory. As long as you can duck and then press the A button to stab. I just think it's great, man. So there's some buckshot. See, if I had more stock, I would be able to pick that up, but I won't be upgrading my stock for the shotgun until the next chapter. You could also access this room after the next encounter if you want to. And the interesting way this game, I just wish those syringes and medical kits weren't on there, but when you pause the game, with when you access the menu, it goes in slow motion, and I really like that. It adds to the tension, but you can still get killed during that process. So again, I don't mess around with these guys. You can see the air like around them moving, but this is just it's just too effective. Is it wasteful as far as supplies? I don't think so, because it only costs 2 to craft, and they'll frequently give you those too if you need them. So I know this next part might sound harsh, but any strategy that I'm going to be doing in this guide, I expect you to have what I have. And I know that it's kind of contentious and people might disagree with that, but on a game like this, you have to be conservative. You have to be mindful of your resources, how many you're using, and just be very, very frugal. So I'm not going to tolerate people saying, well, I don't have this and I don't have this. It's not my fault. You have to be ready for every single encounter. You know, you can always restart the chapter and do better. Okay, so this fight, when I first did it, it looked pretty daunting, and I did it a lot more easily the first time I did this chapter, but the second time, things went a little bit more of awry, and it's okay though, because it does entail some I think people call it RNG for random number generator, or for randomness, RNG. I don't know what it means, but stick an explosive bolt there, and then stick an explosive bolt right there, because where I'm shooting right now, that's where Ruvik is going to spawn. And I actually shot it right beside the door, but he still came out, and you'll see him explode. He's the hardest enemy. They stick this guy in here on Akumu, and I presume Nightmare difficulty as well. But the thing we're going to do is we're going to kill Ruvik right away, and I'm going to be doing tactics like this a lot in my guide, where I plant traps, where I'll see where the enemies are coming. See, watch Ruvik, bam, he's dead. That's a huge problem, just instantly gone. So now people come to the right and to the left, so what I'm going to do is put a shock bolt here, or a flash bolt, excuse me, and then let her get killed, and then go back over here. And you can get killed when you light these oil puddles in the ground, so you've got to stand on the very edge of them. It's pretty risky, and I don't agree with it whatsoever, because that doesn't happen when you do it with the bodies. So there's several of the regular harpoons here, so that's what I'm going to be using. And if you wanted to throw a grenade here, this would be a great time to do that too. And then we're going to go out here, because I know that there's a trap over here, and so we'll have people going through this particular trap. Although I think this is a weird trap here. I don't think you can defuse it, but when enemies go through it, the nails come down. Watch, see? I don't really know. I thought that was okay. Now this, see that indecision right there? I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought maybe they had got killed by the nails, but I should have. If I had tossed that match earlier, this fucking fat ass here that's chasing me in the water now, he wouldn't be chasing me, and he takes a lot of rounds to go down. And we can't light matches in the water, so we're kind of screwed. But just keep wading your way away. Okay, he's dead. Good. So now you do not get a checkpoint yet. You do get a checkpoint when you go through the door, and after you get the checkpoint, you can come back into this room and get everything. So if I were you, I would come back in here and defuse any traps that you have left. I defused 2 in one go without saving. I mean, you can't save it, so I did this until I defused both of the bombs, and I did it on my first try, fortunately. But first of all, we're going to smash any boxes remaining, and we're going to pull this lever twice. You notice the first time it'll discard a corpse down that chute and then onto that piece of trash over there. The second time you pull it, it will release this divinity statue over there. Or the goddess statues, I'm sorry. They are called goddess statues. The reason I'm switching to my harpoons is I like to have the harpoons on by default. So we're going to go over here. And even though you don't see me go to the door and get the checkpoint, you have to realize that this is a guide and I do a lot of editing here. So I was just trying to save you the hassle of that and make it more seamless. So there's another very important key. It's a second of 2 keys for this chapter. And then from this point we're going to go over and get all the loot from Ruvik, because the Ruvik clones yield a lot of orbs. I mean, not orbs. Green gel. How much do they give? 1,000? Yeah, 1,000. Okay, so at this point I saved it right there in that edit. I would not have done this without going to that save point, because if I didn't go to the save point and then I fail these, I would have to do that entire fight over again. So yes, I did. Like at this point, I did not go back and do anything, because you can't go back and do anything. There's no saving it. There's only saving it that one time when you secure yourself the checkpoint. But I'm extremely greedy when it comes to collecting trap parts, and I would have done this even if it took 5 or 10 tries to make sure I got both of these. And it's pretty intimidating, because you have to do 2 of them. So when I go through the door, it won't say checkpoint, because I've already secured myself the checkpoint. But that's the kind of things you have to do. I mean, oh, by the way, the door over to the right is not openable. Openable? Am I a fucking retard or something? God damn it, I can't even speak correctly. It's the end of Halloween, and I had a gigantic pig fest, just pigging out on candy, watching Halloween movies, and playing this game. Like, what more of appropriate game can you get than this game, man? So we'll come down here. What was I saying a moment ago? Yeah, that's how you have to approach this game, as if down the line you might come into a situation where you have like nothing. So just don't be wasteful. If you're wasteful on this game, just like in The Last of Us, you're going to be in very bad hardships. So they let you pick up everything. When you get on the ladder, press the B button to jump down all the way. See, if you're at the top of the ladder, the hands can hit you. But disarm these traps. I think these give you 1 every time. See how many parts I have? I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's how many things I've diffused. And I have a lot of bolts because they're all over the place. So when you come in here, I personally hate the Laura boss. I just don't like it. It's just, I think it's stupid. So when the elevator touches down, I think this must be optional if you want to light the body, because this is not a boss fight. It's just a fleeing sequence from her. But it possibly will slow her down. So here's a trap of torture. You don't have to worry about going out of your way to avoid it. Just sprint from that base starting point, and then you'll slide under here, secure a checkpoint, and there will be a case over to our right here. So pick that up. Some more buckshot, which I can carry 1 now of. So Ruvik will appear when you go down several flights of stairs. I think the next flight you'll kind of pause, and then all you need to do is just run back up from whence you came. You can't run past him. The game wants you to do this, so just do what the game wants you to do. And that's it for chapter 4. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed redoing it, because even though I don't get a lot of views, it's quality that I value more than views. That might seem, pretty skeptical to hear from somebody on YouTube, but I have integrity, and I like to do things right, and I like to do them thorough. That's why I've redone these. So it's just a matter of just patience and attention to detail. So I will see you guys in chapter 5. Take care.